Good morning. Welcome, dear friends, to Neighborhood Church. Welcome to all of you, whether you're here in person or online. Members, friends, and guests, you all belong here. My name is Mimi Hennessy, and I'm serving as your worship associate this morning. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith, connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. With respect for the rights and wisdom of Indigenous people, we acknowledge our harmful colonial histories and commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community with each other and with the land itself. Today's service is led by Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhart with music director Dr. Zenaida Robles and Catherine Eames. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Families with young children are always welcome in the sanctuary, and there is additional seating in the entry foyer or narthex. Couldn't figure out how to say that. I have one brief announcement. Chalice circles are forming now, and you can sign up today. These small groups meet monthly over the course of the church year to create shared spaces for spiritual formation. Get more information at the patio tables today and over the next few weeks. But don't wait to sign up. This is earlier than usual, and these are amazing ways to form close connections here at church. Our order of service this morning is available as a link in this Sunday email and online by scanning the QR code on the back of your hymnal with your phone camera. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey. Welcome to this inclusive faith community connected by Amen.
Well, good morning. A little cloudy, hoping for a sprinkle. Maybe that's just me. I'm Omega Burkhart. I use the honorific Reverend and my title of Doctor. My pronouns are she, they, and when I speak Spanish, I use ella. I'm an average height, femme-presenting woman with silvering hair with bangs, facial jewelry, and visible tattoos. Today I'm wearing my blue robe with my African print ministerial stole. Welcome to our worship service. If you're here in person, I'm so glad. If you're joining us online, welcome. Always glad that you're joining us, whether it's today or at some point in the future. We'll pretend it's now. If you are gathered with us here in this space, I have a few changes I'd like to point out to you. I mentioned them last week. If you're joining us for the first time today, here are a few things you'll notice about our space as we're constantly evolving and making it more inclusive. First of all, children are always welcome in this sanctuary space. We do also have a family area out in the narthex if you have younger children and they would like to play on the floor. We have some toys and books out there. We also have been working this year on creating some inclusive seating, so we do have some chairs with arms. If you need one of those, look around for them. We will continue to have our listening devices out in the narthex entryway as well. We also have an art and a sensory table over towards the back where the tech table is. Anyone of any age at any time is welcome to go over there. There are some art supplies, and one of the baskets has, as we introduced last week, some Play-Doh and some other little toys. And as you can see, if you make a Play-Doh sculpture, I'll put it on the altar. So this week we've got a chalice and a little bunny rabbit. So if that's something of interest to you, please feel free at any time to get up and go over to that area. We have our welcome table out in the narthex where Ginger Fury, the Director of Congregational Life, is at. She is here to help you answer any questions that you might have. We also are creating a little bit more of a closed space by keeping the doors on this side by the coffee tables closed before and during our service. That's just so we can have a little bit better idea of who is coming onto our campus. We can be a little bit more sure of that, and Ginger then can also see the different areas. That's a change. In the past, the welcome table has been out on the patio. Now it will be over here in our narthex. Today, we are gathering in this space to celebrate circles of sharing and vulnerability, sharing as these circles emerge to create an antidote to oppression. In the words of Leah Ongiri, here we are together, each facing our different human tasks, or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons of life, the lessons that life delivers to us, to discern and to respond as we grow, to refuse harm and to cherish our mutual flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we each have a part. Come, let us worship together today. At this moment, I invite us into a time of shared silence. From our very first breath, writes a colleague, we reach out, we co-regulate with each other. It's not self-regulation, it is co-regulation. It is in our nature. So I invite you this morning to find yourself in this space. If it feels comfortable to you, close your eyes. Find yourself seated in this space, strong in your core, feet, if comfortable, touching the ground. shoulders rising, breathing in deeply, filling your center with air, breathing out, breathing in and out. Coming back to this space, if you have wandered, a deep breath in together and out, eyes open, centered, shoulders back, and ready for our day together.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, We Give Thanks.
Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of its contributions to 501c3 organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that are making a difference in our community and the world. You can donate in one of two ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen, or if you'd prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes during the music or after the service. There's a donation box here in front, and there's one behind the center row and in the narthex entryway on the table. Feel free to rise during the music to put your donation in the box, and you might consider extending a hand to those around you who may need assistance reaching the box. If you wish to make a payment toward your pledge or contribute to church operations, make a note in the subject line or use the envelope available at the donation boxes. This week, our gifts will support Friends of the Children Los Angeles. Here with more information is Laura Zacher from that organization. Where did Laura go? Oh, there she is.
Good morning. We are so honored to be here. I'm Laura Zacher. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Chief Advancement Officer, Friends of the Children Los Angeles. Is anybody familiar? Just show of hands. Yes, okay. That means everything I say for the next 2.5 minutes will be new. I'm going to talk a little bit about our work here in Pasadena specifically. Friends of the Children at our core is a mentoring organization, and we really focus on 3 things: consistency, support, and resources. We work specifically with kiddos ages 4 to 6. They enroll into our program, and they stay in our program for 12 years through high school graduation. The way that we do that is that we employ full-time paid professional mentors who spend 20 hours a month with our kids, starting at age kindergarten, age 4 to 5, kind of depending on when they start kindergarten, through high school graduation. Part of what we're trying to do is really break a cycle of risk and challenges that a lot of these kids have faced. Most of our kids have either been involved with the child welfare system and or the juvenile justice system, or specifically here in Pasadena, most of the families that we're working with have been affected in some way by the Eaton fire. Many of our kids are also currently being affected by the current administration's immigration policy. They have mixed status families. There's a lot of sort of dual challenges that are happening with our kids when they enter our program. So what we do, the first thing we focus on is consistency. We want them to grow and flourish and be the most successful young people that they can be. With their friend, which is what we call our mentors, they learn all kinds of things, but we're focusing on the 3 E's: education, employment, entrepreneurship. So even from a young age, we want them to know what success looks like for them. The second part is support. So we don't just work with kids, we support the whole family. Many of our caregivers and parents are struggling with their own challenges, and so our family engagement department actually wraps our arms around the whole family. We spend time, supporting them, whether it's through employment support, housing, food insecurity. We're really wanting to provide a plethora of resources for them. Resources is the last thing, so we really want to be able to provide as much community resource as possible. I have called Pasadena home since 2014. I know what this community is capable of, and what we're really looking at is not just clearly financial resources to support our families, but also community resources. Many of our families have lived in the Pasadena-Altadena area and the San Gabriel Valley for a long time, and they're still lacking a lot of community resources. So I'd love to invite folks that have access to other community support, whether it's volunteer groups, whether it's other ways to provide resources to our family, to come chat with us after the service. To my colleagues, Mariah and Angela are also here, and we're just absolutely thrilled for this opportunity to just be here and share a little bit about our work. We've launched in San Gabriel Valley last year. Our offices are actually co-located with the Boys and Girls Club on Madre. And we've just started enrolling all of our families. We currently serve about 20 families, and we'll finish this year serving 32 4 to 6-year-olds. So again, any questions that you have, we're happy to answer them, and thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Laura. That sounds like a great organization, and thank all of you for giving generously.
Today, I'm singing 2 anthems in French. The first is called Villanelle. And some of the words are, swiftly the swallows are flying, far in the depths of the sky, songster to songster replying, as on light wings they are hieing. And so it's a song of it's a villanelle, or a song about the countryside and our environment and nature.
Well, if that didn't make you feel like a bird flying through the blue sky, I'm not sure what will. Thank you. Lovely. The reading for this morning comes from Emergent Strategy. It is a book written by Adrienne Marie Brown. Speaking of birds, in this book, she posits a way of doing social change that actually derives from nature. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But in particular, she highlights different systems in nature, like starlings, like mycelium, like dandelions, and others, that organize themselves without a centralized leader. And because of this, highlights how community is important. She writes, one of the most common and exciting elements of the visioning exercises I have done with social justice movements and organizations is the desire for a society where there is more interdependence, mutual reliance, and shared leadership and vision. This is particularly our longing in the face of economic competition. Most of us are socialized towards independence, pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, working on our own to develop, to survive, to win at life. Competition is the way we hone our skill and comfort with the opposite of mutual reliance. We learn to feel proud about how much we achieve as individuals and sometimes to actively work to bring others down in order to get ahead. In a capitalist society like the United States, she writes, every aspect of our survival, from food and water to health care, child care, and elder care, is based on our success at being an individual in the world. Do we compete well enough to make good money so we can live a good life, she asks. Competition exists all over nature. Being the alpha is a big deal. Competing in mating and survival cycles can be understood as natural. In the absence of reasoning, it appears to be a viable way to manage community power dynamics. Humans are unique because we compete when it isn't necessary. We could reason our way to more sustainable processes, but we use our intelligence to outsmart each other. We compete for fun and for ego. The idea of interdependence is that we can meet each other's needs in a variety of ways, that we can truly lean on others and they can lean on us. It means we have to decentralize our idea of where solutions and decisions happen, where ideas come from. And that closes our reading today.
This song is chanson triste, or sad song. And the translation says, in your heart there sleeps a moonlight, a soft moonlight of summer. And to escape this troublesome life, I shall drown myself in your light. I shall forget the past sorrows, my love. when you will cradle my sad heart and my thoughts in the loving stillness of your arms. You will let my wounded head, you will, sometimes rest on your knees. And you will recite a ballad that will seem to speak of us. And in your eyes, filled with sadness, in your eyes, then I shall drink so many kisses and tender caresses that perhaps I shall recover.
In the collection of my favorite Unitarian Universalist things, and that is a large collection, there are many, including the handmade ceramic chalice that my youngest son made, and the well-worn religious naturalist texts that are in my office, and the boxes and baskets of rocks that are found in every church closet I have ever either been a member of or served. Why we have so many baskets of rocks, I don't know. But I love them. They bring me so much joy when I open a closet and there's a basket of rocks. Amongst all of these things is a favorite thing that I have. It's a t-shirt with a slogan, and I have one, and it was based on one. Here's an example. Tech folks, yep, thank you for putting that up. It's a photo I took about 10 years ago. It says, Unitarian Universalist, questioning life's persistent answers since 1542. Questioning life's persistent answers. It's a bit humorous. Some of you giggled a little bit at that, but it certainly points to a complex relationship that Unitarians and Universalists, and Unitarian Universalism has with the concept of creed and dogma. And in my text, I wrote creed and dogma, which also should indicate that I might also have a problematic relationship with those two words, right? We are a non-creedal faith, and some of you are very well versed in this, but for others of you, that is a new concept. This means that we support each other in searching for, in defining, exploring, examining a faith path that suits us as individuals, but we do this collectively. This path of faith exploration can feel, especially for many of us who have been formed by and informed by religions based on creed, and I want to reiterate here that all of us have been informed by religions based on creed living in this country. It can feel a little bit like shifting sands. It can offer opportunity and aspiration, yes, to be part of a faith that is not creedal, but it can also offer some frustration, as we might wish that someone would just tell us what to believe or to give us answers. Some of those questions are hard. What are we here for? Where are we going? Do we have purpose? Is there a God or a goddess or many or none? The reality is that humans, for all of human time, have created religions. Religion meaning what we do together spiritually. We have created religions throughout time. But being part of a religion that does not demand a belief, that is a privilege, and it is a rarity. Generally speaking, and I'm speaking very generally here, communities and societies faced with imminent threat, whether that's environmental or from other groups, develop religious beliefs and traditions that require adherence to a specific belief pattern in favor of the survival of the group. Dr. Robert Sapolsky, who is an anthropologist from Stanford, amongst many, many others, theorized that religions that are considered harsh, and I put that in quotes also, or particularly demanding from our current point of view, often have been in direct relationship to the ecosystems in which they live. Harsh climates tend to produce, for example, groups who favor a stricter monotheism and religious behaviors that condone harsh treatment from outside groups. That is an example. In other words, in our current world, to be a Unitarian Universalist who is encouraged to question and not be told a theology, it is a privilege afforded to few people historically worldwide. We actively, as Unitarian Universalists, create opportunities for our children and our youth and our adults to engage in programs and worship and groups designed not necessarily to give answers, but to create space for vulnerability in sharing, to create opportunities to support each other in making questions and coming towards, not necessarily answering, but coming towards a path that feels right for each of us. So in Emergent Strategy, the book from which I just read a passage, Adrienne Marie Brown posits that this social change can only happen organically and in non-centralized, non-linear fashions. In natural systems like the mycelium that I referred to, flocks of starlings, etc., these systems of organisms adapt and evolve and they grow without a centralized leading force. It is the community that creates an ever-expanding circle of mutual support and strength. To employ an emergent strategy for social change is, and I'm simplifying, but it is to encourage listening, encourage engaging with our whole selves, to encourage focus on building, not attacking and tearing down. It is to encourage the emphasis of our own power, of creating networks, and for being inclusive. It is through this that the community thrives and is able to adapt and address not only the needs of the individuals in the group, but the needs of the group as a whole. and other systems as well. It is fractal in this nature, the needs of the individual, the group, and other groups as well. This is what a community of health is. It is a circle of relationships buoyed by wonder and strengthened to withstand and embrace change. Unitarian Universalist theologians Rebecca Ann Parker and John Byrons conceptualize the importance of this community in our spiritual lives this way. They write in A House for Hope, the promise of progressive religion for the 21st century, they write, "There is no life apart from life together. In many Buddhist traditions, taking refuge in the Sangha, the spiritual community, is necessary for enlightenment." Quote, "There is no salvation outside the church," said 3rd century Christian Bishop Cyprian of Carthage. These may be startling claims if you have been steeped in the dominant U.S. culture of individualism, which suggests that looking out for number one is the only way to survive. But life is relational through and through. Everything exists in interaction and interdependence with everything else. The question is not whether or not we are social, connected beings. That is a given. The question is how we shape our modes of being with one another and with the sources that uphold and sustain life. This is why covenant is so important in our Unitarian Universalist churches. This is the agreement of how we will be together, not of what we require of each other to believe. We are agreeing to create spaces where we can be vulnerable as social, connected human beings. When we talk about becoming a member of a UU church, we are talking about the agreement we hold as central to our actions towards one another. We're not creating exclusivity, a membership agreement. There's no scarcity mindset here. It's about how we treat one another. We're talking about the process to commit and then to recommit regularly to being in vulnerable relationships with other people to foster a sense of shared and mutual support for each other's spiritual thriving through exploration and examination. Nowhere is, I think, this more evident than in our small group ministry programs. In some UU churches, these are called covenant groups for this very reason, but in our church, they're called chalice circles. Small groups built with intention and facilitated by a trained leader. Best practices for these groups include, first, creating a covenant of how that group will be together when they form for the first time. Regular attendance, intentional attendance, and perhaps reading or participating in some thinking or activities before the group meeting. And of course, these groups share in creating an environment that is trust building. It is vulnerable through conversation. In an ideal setting, they are intergenerational and they change yearly to allow people to learn from others and to meet new people in their community. Focused on a monthly theme, these circles create space in which participants can go deeper on topics that are brought up in sermons or in the news or in the greater Unitarian Universalist world. Now, I've said in other contexts, and I'll repeat it here, I am a minister today because of the chalice circle I joined as a member of the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. I was in a few different chalice circles over a few years, facilitated by different leaders. I then served on the Chalice Circle Steering Committee, where we brainstormed themes and best practices, and this was before there was common material available to folks. From that, I was asked to attend the Midwest Leadership School, and then in subsequent years, I became lay staff there and eventually the chair of that school. This springboarded me into ministry, and that was all because of the Chalice Circle I attended somewhat, well, very trepidatiously at a church that I had become a member of. My path to ministry was born in a circle of vulnerability and spiritual exploration, in a circle where individual emergence was an interdependent, not independent act. So if you join a chalice circle, watch out. You never know where you're going to be in 20 years, but I digress. Much in our dominant culture can lull people into numbness, complacency, or compliance, writes Rebecca Parker and John Byron's. Staying awake, becoming active rather than passive in the world, it requires something more of us, something that we cannot do alone. Religious communities can enable people to claim and deepen the values that the dominant culture is ignoring or denying. They can convert us from lifestyles that disregard the earth and are heedless of the environmental damage and danger we are courting to lifestyles of reverence and gratitude that enable us to be less materialistic and more attentive to the goodness of life's intangibles. They can free us from consuming unsatisfying intellectual junk food and give us a deep nourishment through the bread and wine of spiritual traditions, sacred texts, intellectual quests, meditation, and prayer. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, "I hope to see communities like that everywhere, as a kind of demonstration that life is possible, a future is possible. There are many things that regulate us, that rob us of our serenity, our peace, our time, ourselves. So a community that shows abundance of life, that is an example of the wholeness of life. That would be an eloquent sign of the possibility of the future." So I invite you to consider if a chalice circle might be a place where you would like to explore what it means to be in community. Perhaps this is a way that you would like to create community, an example of the wholeness of life, a place of deepening values that the dominant culture seems to be ignoring, a place where you can examine preconceived ideas of spirituality, of faith, a circle where you can question and you can be vulnerable in your questioning. May it be so.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, Go Lift It Up.
I offer you these words to contemplate as a benediction today from Rebecca Parker. Your gifts Whatever you discover them to be, they can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can be used to feed the hungry, to bind up wounds, to welcome the stranger, to praise what is sacred, to do the work of justice, or to offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, or obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer the question, what will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and for this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of the earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility, waiting.